Yud Adar II, Hatavshin Samech Ches, Hemshech Samech Vav, page Kuf Nun Dalid.
So we saw that there were two Ifanim in Bittul Ha'ilamitz. And before we brought down the Yinin of Havai Elokena Havai Echad. And we saw that that was an acronym in the way that we could take the Dalet, and then we could say that the Ches was Zayin Rekiim V'Oret, and the Dalet was the Dalet Ruches of the Olam. Even though another place brought down there are really 6 sides of the Dalet Ruches, means the 4 directions, to be more exact. Mizrach, Mariv, Tzofan and Dorim, and Kulam Beteilim and Miyuchodim Betachlis in the Aleph. That's the whole Inyan, that the Dalet and the Zayin Ches Beteilim is just one on. The Alter Rebbe brings it in Shara Yichud that in every word the Osa Rishina, the first letter is Goiver, and all the other letters in the word are Botel to the first word, to the first Os. The Dalet and the Zayin Ches are Beteilim to the Aleph Alufi Shaloilam. That's a union, as we saw, of Actus Bederach Yechudi Iloah. Achzeu, Afi Shekula Kamei Kalei Chashivei, Shebeteilim B'Metzias, B'Emes Lagabe Erein Seif Baruch Hu. And we saw that was the concept of what we call Yechuda Iloah, the highest form of Yichud. The Alter Rebbe says that that's to be right at the beginning of Shara Yichud, that's the Emes Biyah, and the Emes Pirush in the Pasuk Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, is the highest form of Yichud, meaning that there's, even though they came about the Nivroim, or they have no Metzias and they're Beteilim Be'etzem Metziusam, meaning that the very entity that they represent is Botel, Betachlis, to Akus, and therefore Kula Kamei Kaloicha Chashivei Lagabe compared to Erein Seif Baruch. Of a Varega, what you say, Kula Kamei Kaloicha Chashivei, then you first of all you say it Kula. You say that all of these things in front of him, Kamei, are Kaloi Chashivei. So the word Kamei means Lefanov. It's like the Iran for the word in front of him. So you say that there is Kula, there really is all the Nivroim, and that they're Beteilim, Ba'ifin, that the Kof is what we call a comparative Kof, Kaloi Chashivei, like as if they were nothing. Not that they're mamish nothing, not that they're mamish not there, but they're kaloi, they were they're as if they were not reckonable. Kaloi chashivei. What that implies that they are there, but they're bottled in such a way, they're nullified in such a way, like Gabi, Erein Seif, that we don't count them as it were. We say that is a Metzias, albeit that's a Metzias, but it's botel, it's nullified in its very essence. However, we do imply that there are all the Nivroim, just that they are not of any meaningful entity like Gabi Ein Seif, and therefore they're called Kaloi as if they were not. So that's also called Yechuda Iloah, because Yechuda Tatua, the lower form of Yichud, says that there is a Yesh, that there did come about the creation, there is a world and there is a Yesh. However, that Yesh realizes that it's Talui and it's dependent in of Elokus, but the Oifen of Gilo Elokus to that Yesh is not in such a way that the Yesh can lose its whole Metzias Lagame. It doesn't lose completely its whole Metzias, and therefore we call it Yechuda Tatua, which means that we, as it were, visit the Yesh with a certain Metzias. Yechuda Iloah means we say that Yesh that there is Kaloi, as if it were not. In other words, we don't reckon with it Baklal, even though we admit that it does have a state, it is there, but it's there in such a way that we don't reckon with it. And we say that it's completely nullified to Ein Sof. That's also called Yichud Ilah. And now he says, "Ubi Yisrael," and more than that. Lafia Mavua b'Mokim Acher Ho'inyan, the Inyan of Yichud Ilah, the Lafi Shelagabi Atzmus Ein Sof, Ein Shum Dova Mailim or Mastir Klau. V'harei Meir Gili Ein Sof Mamish Bo'ilom. Omamela Ein Ho'ilom b'Metzias Klau. שהוא בוטל ומיוחד בעצמוסי כמוי קודם שנברא. אחרי שכוסף במוקים אחר. או כמו שנסבור לי ובדיבור המשך לתל דס, ודסם דרמיים הפשע נויח לתל דס נויח. Whatever there he mentions a bekitza that the Ein Sof is male lamata, kemoi lamaila, therefore the nivroim are betelim completely b'matzias. The Rebbe says that this is even more of a more profound understanding of the Yichud Ilah at the Bittul of the Nivroim, but even the Yichud is Yichud Ilah. So what is the Biur? He says that according to the first Hezbollah, we started off with the Nivro. And we said, look, let's take this Nivro, Kula, everything is there, but it's not really that. It's Kaloi Choshive, because I go, as it were, from my understanding of the Nivra, how the Gabi Amiti is Ein Sof Baruch Hu, how he is beyond the whole Hagbolah, being shout to the Nivra. And I go upwards and I say, Im Kain, the Nivra doesn't really have any entity Gabi him, even though I'm not saying that it's not there, Klalu or Kla. However, according to this explanation, I start off Numaila and I come down and I can't really find any matter. That's what it means. In other words, that I say that the Ein Sof is Ein Shum Dova Mailim Umas te Klau. Nothing can possibly hide or conceal the Eibishter's infinite light. The Eibishter Kamoshahu, nothing can possibly block or in any way hide away or make itself felt as some sort of a concealing or existing entity Legabi him. Now why do I say that? Because we have a cloud, and it's brought down in my Morim from the Rabbeim, and also the Alter Rebbe. If you look up in Tanya, in Perek Kof, at the beginning of where he begins saying that in order to be Masbir, a certain Indian Bariza, what he wants to be Masbir over there, Chorik Lahaktim, we have to proceed, Bekitzora Indian Atusei, Yeshal HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yichudei Vatusei. And there the Alter Rebbe says also that he says that Hashem is there. Just like Li'acha Shenivro Oilam, just like he was Koidem Shenivro Oilam Hoyehu Levadoihu. It's the expression that he uses over there. Meaning that even though things have come about according to Torah, they didn't really alter anything. They don't have any entity whatsoever, because just like he was on his own prior, that's how he is now after. You know how they call it the famous before and after. Before and after, there's no change. The before and the after are exactly the same. And that's what he goes on to be masbeh over there in Perikofal of the Alter Rebbe. Well, that'll be fitting with what he says here in a section. So I asked the question, how can that be? I mean, after all, we do say that the Eibusha created the world, and that's what he said, Atah mishen nivro, Atahu koidem shen nivro, Atah liacha shen nivro. We say that at the beginning of Davening, not the beginning, but in the early part of Davening. So we do say that Nivro, there was something that came about. So was it the explanation? It came about through the fact that the Eibishter made what we call a Hashem Elokim. He made a koyach which is somehow or another mailim on his infinite light, and that gives rise to the fact that it can appear to be inyonim which are there. And that's what we say, Bereshis, at the beginning, Boro Elokim. Boro, Yesh Mi'ayin, is only Mitzat Hashem Eloi Elokim, but the Shem Elokim is Shem Adin V'Tzimtzum. It's not the immediate union of Havaya, which is Elokus B'Emes Havaya. And afar, what the Rebbe means to say here, that Ein Shum Dova Maili Momasti, means that even that koyach, what the Eibishter himself made within himself, that will be Maili Momasti to give rise to the Nivra, or that can't be Maili Momasti Legabi him, because that's him. Pinkas even the Shem Havaya is him, or that's also him. And in Tafresh Mem Gimel, the Rebbe Rashab brings a famous mashal up the roof, that if you want to cover over yourself, ein dova mailim ein etzem mailim ala etzem, something which is the same essence can't hide its own essence, because that's the same thing. You can't, that's hiding you, because that's you. And he brings an amazing example to fun, that if you put your hand over your head, over your naked head, over your head without a covering, then that's not considered a covering. If you want to cover your head in a shul or in order to make a bracha, if you put your hand on your head, it doesn't help. Ein ze mo'il. We cover our yarmulkes with our hands in order to have two coverings. If you already got one covering, then your hand can, your prayer, your hand can help to be another covering. But on your naked head, it can't help. And so the reason is that it's written over there in Mikivin Sha'ayad Hu Chelik Miya Adam Ein Adam Yochel Hasti Al Adam. The mensch can't be Mairim and Master Legabi himself. And the covering over the head is it's going to be Mashusha Mastir Legabi Aroshulcha. And therefore, since the Indian which is Mailim or Master is anyway Elokus, well, that's the Koyach Eloki, Lahalim Asatzmei. That's not mine. To see what the Eibishter puts his own hand cover over himself, and the Skonish Mailim or Master Zah. And therefore, Nimtzal that it's all a how do you call it, a hide and seek game, and therefore that's what he says in Tanya, or everything as we mentioned the other night in the Shul Quality, everything is written in Tanya. Now if you look carefully in the Lashon HaZohar, the Alter Rebbe over there, he says that the whole union of the Tzimtzumim are only legabi the kablim, they're only legabi the receiver, of not that they in any way block off from Hashem, not that Hashem has to reckon with them. That Hashem sees in that his own self pictures to be freer. It's only legabi the makaber. Because the Shem Elokim is Hu Atzma, as a pink to say, V'einam ad etzem ma'alim ala etzem. That one entity can't be ma'alim of another, of its own self, I'm sorry. One entity can't be ma'alim of its own self. And that's what the Rebbe means here, that ain't shum dova ma'alim of master cloud. If that's the case, then the Eibishter, just like he is Lamayla, that's how he is Lamata, just like he was before the Olam was created, that's how he is after the Olam was created. Meaning in the place where it appears to be Olam, or Mamela, ain't no Olam b'Matzias cloud. Before he said, Kula kamei kalechashivit. Now he says that the Olam is not b'Matzias cloud, shehu botel miyuchad biatz musay kamei koidem she nira, just like before the whole thing began. Yeah, no, but here he says the world was botel, so now the world is botel liachrim mizeh, which means that there must be something, because he doesn't say, it's just like there was nothing before he began, now there's nothing after he began. No, he says that koidim shenira, before the world was created, just like it was botel yemot, as it is botel now. So therefore you look in Perikof Aleph, he writes over there, in order to get out of this whole difficulty, the Alter Rebbe comes up with the famous idea that in Emerson, when we say that the worlds were created, Yesh Mi'ayin, that's only the Etzem Gashmi, Metzias Gashmi of the world, Lamata. That came about Yesh Mi'ayin. But in Emerson, the world, as a Gashmistic world, has a certain shirish in Elakusla, Lamaila in Helakus, Lamaila Gufet has a certain shurish in the elements Elyain, and even Lamaila elements Elyainim, and that's what he calls over there in Perikof Aleph, the Oisias, which later became the highest of the elements in the Asora Mamores. Those Oisias are Betelim in the Ein Seif, Pink to say Via Mensch, before the Oisias of his Dibur appear as a Matthias of Oisius, they're Betelim Betecha Aseichel V'Hamidas. That's what he brings out in the famous Moshel, that there are Oisius, but they're not. The Oisius are Betelim inside the Koiches of the Nefesh Seichel of Midas, and later the Oisius become a felt entity when he actually brings them out. Lidei Gilu B'Dibur. He said that the world has a certain state in Kol, in Atzmusai, how it has a state of very, very high beetle within Elikus itself. And that's called the Oisius, he calls that over there, the Oisius Harayah, B'toich Atzmusai Terem, Shohitzio Yison Lidei Gilu. And the answer is that they never really lose that state. Because when the Eibishter spoke, when he gave out all these inyonim, it only happened Legabi the Makablim. Or Legabi him, it didn't. It remains exactly in that same bittul as it was. Afilu liachrei hadibuk. Hadibuk is only Legabi the Makablim. That's what he means. He says that the Meir is Lamata Gila and Seif Ba'oilom. Omamela Eino Elam B'Metzias Klau, Shu Botel Miyuchad, B'Atzmusa K'moi Koidem She Niva. In other words, that there was a state of the world Botel B'Teich Atzmusa, Koidem She Niva, and it never alters, because all the Inyonim Amaylim Umastirim, they have no Metzias, only Legavi the Makablim, or Legavi the Eibus, they're him. And remember that he can't be Mailim Umastar and as far as he's concerned, the whole thing never went out. It never started. It's all bottled. That's only another in here. As it were. We see how the whole thing is bottled, and it can never change because all the things that come down Lamata don't really happen. Remember, the way it is down here is just like it was at the beginning of the whole thing. B'toicha Elikus. The never really comes about. That's the inim b'yoisa, or that's yimitis inif in Yechud Elah. There's really nothing there. It's all just Legabi the Makaber. So that presents Shari. If it's not really there, then what do you want of us? Nothing's there, then there's nothing to worry about. Nothing's there. So the answer is that Afu Pikein Al Pitoira, the Eibishter even considers that as being there, even though it's not really there like Abi him, but he does consider it enough as being there in order to make this whole tremendous challenge and this whole tremendous spiel, which is called Elamah Zeh. And that's already beyond. That's another understanding in the Yichud. So the first one is understanding, we got something of another, that's kilo, it's kiloi, but it's going to be something incomparably higher. So here we say it never got going, it never started. It's kol b'techa, and everything that reveals it doesn't really happen. And therefore, it remains inside the atmosphere, evenly after what is yotzo b'golu. And if you look in Perek Kof and Kof Aleph, that's exactly what's stated. But you, Tachlis Hadir. That the Yechud Elah says is absolutely natik. And everything is bottled with Tachlis Habitel. Ve'ilu Yechud Tatua says that there's a certain ticket that the Matthias of the world is meant to be a Matthias and to feel itself as a Matthias. So the Rebbe, the Tachlis is not that and not that. The Rebbe doesn't want you to remain in Yechud Tatoah, but he doesn't want you to be only Yechud Elah. What does he want? He wants a Yechud of Yechud Elah im Yechud Tatoah. Because if I were to say he wants only Yechud Elah, then all is filled. There's nothing anymore what to do. Everything is just bottled with Tachlis and Beetle. But then the Rebbe wants we should be in the world and there to be Megala the Amitius Aemes. And that's what he says. Avarinin Yichud Elah, Yichud Tatoah, Hu Shegam Kamoisha Oilam Hu B'Metzias, Hu B'Chinas Bittel V'Yichud. That's the two in here. Bittel is the first one. Yichud is the zweite. Yichud means it's mamish inside him. It never went after. Says the Rebbe, that's the whole kunst, to be in the world, be Yichud Tatoah. And the Eibishter wanted that for some reason he wanted the world should have a din al piter of being b'matziyah. and that there should be a feeling of Matthias. And in that you have to be mamshich the inyan from bittul v'yichud tachlis. V'hainu shekam b'hanoga gashmiyos, that even when you're acting physical acts, b'achila ushtia or kahai gavna, things like eating and drinking and things of that nature. Bittul b'matzias mamish, you're eating and you're drinking, but you're in a state of bittul b'matzias, beli shum ergish kash miklalu. Wow. In other words, you don't feel the gashmias at all. In other words, you're there, but you're not there. You're there, but you don't feel the inyan at all. In other words, not you don't eat, you do eat, but b'shas you eat, you don't feel the hergish gashmi klalu. So let me tell you, that sounds like a dream. Where do you get that from? So immediately, give a look at the hemshah. He says, "Ukemoy b'Shabbos." He said, "Don't tell me you've never heard of such a thing, and don't tell me you've never lived through such a thing." Because he said, every 7 days you live through the same thing. He said, "Kemoy b'Shabbos, shemitzvah lion goy b'achilu u'shasiyah." If you look at the beginning of the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch and Bechlam, the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch is Shabbos, and all the great places in the Shulchan Aruch himself and Umatum, you look up and see the mitzvah lion goy b'achilu u'shasiyah. You have to, there's a whole thing there. If you haven't got enough, what do you do? Should you borrow? Shouldn't you borrow? How do you make your Shabbos? The food should be more, how do you call it, oinig dik than what it is in the weekday. V'chulei. And I found it's a mitzvah, albeit the Alter Rebbe brings over there that it's a mitzvah midivrei sefer. He writes over there that it's chamulim divrei seferim yesemi. They start to Alter Rebbe, the mamash at the beginning of the Shulchan Aruch, Hilchos Shabbos. Like the Indian shouldn't belittle the fact that if you say a thing is midivrei seferim, that's what we're going now into the evening from Purim. It's a mitzvah midivrei seferim. Our chamulim divrei seferim yesem midivrei Torah when they gone to Ariches, and also brought down the Alter Rebbe brings it in time. However, suffice it to say, he said that a mitzvah lion goy b'achila u'shtia. And a lion goy means to feel oineg in the achila u'shasiyah. Says you're happy. If you're feeling oineg, that means that you're eating with a gishmak. So therefore he said the achila, the Shabbos, ain't a oineg gashmi. That's not a oineg gashmi ki oineg ruchni. And when you eat on Shabbos, then you feel oinig, but it's really a oinig ruchni, not a oinig gashmi. So how can that be? With a tighter, I eat a beautiful piece of kugel or something, a piece of the how come did you say that's a oinig ruchni? It's not a oinig. It's not a oinig gashmi. So that's the famous inyan. The famous story is brought down. Brought down in a Maimach Siddur from the Rebbe that's on Tzedek in Derech Mitzvah. It means that down out the Yasi Alter Rebbe just before the Istalkus, the so-called Istalkus of the Alter Rebbe, he asked him that child. It was the Shabbat when they were already in the Goyisha house. The Alter Rebbe was mistalik on Motzei Shabbat. But the Tzemach Tzedek said to him, what's up is that you say that everything on Shabbos is different. It's the same food, it's the same piece of meat or the same piece of fish. Doesn't prepare it on Erev Shabbos. Now we're eating the Shabbos. How do you say that it's different? You eat it differently. It's the same thing. The other shaila was that the Alter Rebbe said to him that on Shabbos that the achila is not, it's not gashmistic. And therefore it doesn't affect the mention a gashmistic way. So he said that's a klippus neiger. Now it just went through a certain period of time. Now it's sitting on the table. It's klippus neiger. So the Alter Rebbe said no, it's not. He raised it from the mouth. The Alter Rebbe said that it goes out on Erev Shabbos, put on the Zohar Kodesh. And it goes out on Erev Shabbos, what do you call it, a big pulsa de nuira, how do you call it, a big flame of fire, how do you call it, a big whiplash of fire goes out on Erev Shabbos, and it drives away the whole Klippus Neiger. So there's no more Klippus Neiger. No more achiza with the clippers. No more mutz anymore in the clippers. It's the same piece of meat, but it's got a different chai. It's being makabel from a higher level. That's it, the Alter Rebbe said. And he said that's the Indian, or that pulsa de nura is the Indian why you have to take a hot shower, a hot bath on every shower. You have to wash the flesh of the body also in hot water, because that's indicative that pulsa de nahira. And therefore it's well known that there was certain Gedele so in Lubavitch that man das nicht gehört hat. Bei Chassidim Beklal didn't hear it so much, but they used to bathe they used to wash themselves and bathe on Erev Shabbos in boiling water. Mama, they used to try and make it as hot as possible. They precautions to make sure that it was going to burn away all the klippus. Yeah, so that's he put him in there. Aber upon him is in Lubavitch was enough that the Indian is in Ruchni is not to be Mahadar, Ad Kedikach in Gashmi is. But upon him it's the Indian, the water should be hot. There should be hot water. That's the Indian what all the if I remember on Shabbos Kumtoy is that the Michael has changed its whole state. It's not any more Makabel a feel bedel mamutze from the Indian clippers. No, that's a Michael with it's only got the Chayser a Machaya so betoy. So therefore, when you eat it, if you eat it with the right approach, and you don't want to just purely mitzad ta'eva gashmis, no, so this is even from a mitzvah, on Shabbos le'angoi, but you do it mitzad with a good kavanah, mitzad the kedusha of Shabbos, then you tune into a Indian ruchni betachlis, and you're not in our ilam, which is shy to the Indian from gashmi. And therefore, it's the whole Indian is totally somewhat in the approach of the Adam, but to a certain extent, not even in the approach of the Adam, because there's a famous piece from the Rebbe, the Talmud Tzaddik, also the Rebbe Marash writes about it. More a little bit about Gosher. But he says that even if you eat on Shabbos, mamish taiva, you eat mamish b'taiva, it can't pull you down like in the weekday. Can't pull it down because it doesn't have the whole Indian. But the achiza in the clip is like it does in the weekday. But that doesn't mean that you should eat b'taiva. But he said, if so happened that the man ate mamish b'taiva gashmiyas, then ein ze magashim ve'ein ze moirid k'moi b'yamaysacher.
If a person eats really unhealthy food, is that?
Yeah?
If a person eats really unhealthy food on Shabbos, can that affect them physically?
I don't know where you got the word unhealthy. We have to say it if we bow. Those Yiddish Macholim with all the generations ate that food. That's got certain Ramazim to Kedusha from Shabbos, and it's not Makabel from anything to do except for Kedusha. Kosher Hador Alima, that is not healthy. Elim Kain was made with a kavanah mamish to be lo toiv leichul ha'adam or che'etz b'zeh. Aber rova macholim from Shabbos chas v'shor. There's once a man said, but I did the eight part of Rav Hashav, he was from the man. He used to suffer from what do you call it? Ulcer. He had a terrible ulcer, and he had a whole mass, and he wasn't able to eat anything. So he was sitting at the table, and the Rav Shabbos there, and they brought the Macholi Shabbos, and he didn't touch anything because he couldn't eat it. So the Rav Shabbos asked him, why is he not eating? So he said that he's got this problem, and Rav Rashab said to him, the Macholi Shabbos can the Macholi Shabbos can affect a person negatively. What's he going to do? The Rabbi tells us he started eating. And came Moshe Shabbos waiting for the explosion. He was waiting for the terrible effect. And it goes through the hours and sees nothing happen. He absorbed that, he digested it, and everything seemed to be fine. He was mamish, he couldn't understand it. So he asked a big much pia. You know, how could that possibly be? Big Mashpia said, it depends by whom you eat. If you eat by somebody who the whole Kedusha Shabbos is mayor by him, so that's all totally. It all depends on how you understand and how you look. We empty Sachen. Also from him is you got these people, they sort of chase around Shabbos, making sure they don't eat anything that's not Tivoni, it's not all the dietetic shtickler and everything. Kasher, that's fine. Don't have to deliberately, eat something which deliberately you consider not to be good. Shabbos, nandari. So he says that ein ze oine gashmi ki moinek ruchni. When you're eating the machali Shabbos, the feeling that's going with that is a oinig really in the kedusha of Shabbos and in the Elokus HaMeya b'Shabbos. It's not just, and that's a famous story about the Baal Shem Tov showed the people that the guy, the person with the stein on, even though he was an ox, in the mouth. But even though the Rebbe touched that once upon a time much more profoundly, but a simple touch of that mice, a simple pshat in that mice is that the person was eating the inyonim just like you would eat in the wheat. They was eating mamish mitachila gashmias kipshute taiva gashmias nicht das the inyan from Shabbat. But the whole point is that you've got a help no miler because the macholim themselves are on a different standard and state altogether. Therefore, that's me'afshir and doesn't noise and koyach. But that you should be able to eat and not even for neinige aruch. So you might say, well, could give a kick. So I ate on Shabbos or any ruchni. All of a sudden I fall back on Moitzi Shabbos. Yeah, comes the wheat day, I fall back in again. He wanted to help me the whole evening for Shabbos. It's like, how do you call it? These things that go up and all of a sudden they flop back down again. What do they call it?
Roller coaster.
Huh?
Roller coaster.
Yeah. What did it help me? I eat nachanami Shabbos as I give in. Shabbos is only once every 7 days. Or what are we going to do with the weekdays? Well, you took me near mold. Give a cool order, right? You see everything reckoned out here. Everything is touched with Sadiyu. Okay, the Easter B'Sifrei HaKabbalah. That's a Rosh Hashanah B'Sifrei HaKabbalah. And that means the Kisvei Arisa. Means the Shara Kavonas and the Priyat Chayim. B'inyan Sudah de Moitzoi Shabbat. I mean, you're talking about Shabbos, you go with the Moitzer Shabbos. I say. Yeah, the Moitzer Shabbos, but that's even from Malava Malki. That's the Sudas Malava Malki. Shehi Liyos HaRoishem Me'oineg Dachila de Shabbos Al Kol HaShavua. In other words, that the Eibishter gives you a mamutza, just like he gives you an Erev Shabbos, or he takes away all of them Dvarim Hamoinim, and he gives you a holy Gashmis on Shabbos. The same way he gives you a koyach to take that Gashmis with you on Moitzer Shabbos, that you take with you the Kedusha of the Etzem Minyonim, plus the Yoinig HaMurgish Behem, on Moitzer Shabbos, you carry that over with you into the union of the days of the week, Al Korasha, Keshavua, that the oine that you felt, the oine Geloki that you had on the Achillah themselves will go into the weekday. And he said, therefore notice, the Masha immediately after Ma'ariv on Moitzer Shabbos, you say, Vayhi Noyam Hashem Elokeinu Aleinu. Yeah, you remember that passage of Moitzer Shabbos? Mazi Adeinu Keinu Oleu, Mazi Adeinu Keinu Noyu, right after the Shemoneh, after the Kaddish. So the Rebbe said, what's the meaning of saying that immediately Moitzer Shabbos? Who? Sheishoya haroishem me'ataynu detfila Shabbos al kol ha-shavua. V'hi noyam. Noyam is eating from tainu. But this is the noyam is eating from tainu ruchni. But that comes from the tefillas and the Avodas Hashem on Shabbat. You got all the young boys, the young knackers in your youthful years, and you sloughed at 1 o'clock on Shabbos. This is from an Indian though. This is the Noyam al Hashem al Keino. This is this. You have to be up and into the davening on Shabbos. And he says, the old schleppers and that, but you this is your chance to chaparai. You have Ush Yeshua Roshim Yatainu the Tefillah Shabbos or Kol Shavua. Validei Sudas Malava Malke. And so eating on Moitzi Shabbos, Ush Yeshua Roshim Yatainu the Nisha Roshim Ho'inig Dachila the Shabbos. So the Rebbe put he's answered to Kashi. Because immediately saying, oh, give out, this is Shabbos. We're going to do the whole rest of the week. Well, if I can't move her into the rest of the week, is not like that. You got to take a stride and you got to be careful not to fall into the hands of the clippers. Who's going to be able to hang out with you? So, all right, in Shabbos was of in the middle of the week, so Rebbe said to Rebbe, no, you should realize that that's a special koyach of the Suda of Malava Malkida. That gives the power to carry over that oinig eliki of Kodim Moisasha. That's a great power of the Sudas. Malava Malkir. And therefore, a lot of Eden are very medactic in the Indian from Sudas Malava Malkir. That's going on. The Rebbe Bekoshi ate on Shabbos. There were times when it's a Shabbos where he ate Sudas Shabbos by day. Malava Malkir used to eat. It's brought down. At the Rebbe in his house, he used to wash and eat a short Malava Malki. Yeah, but mamish washing and eat some challah and all thing, noch a bench. The Rebbe used to eat Sudas Malava Malki. And Yesh Leimak is the whole Indian from the Rebbe is Sudas David Malchi, the David Indian from Malcha Mashiach. It's brought down that the Suda of Moitzu Shabbos is the Suda of Moshiach. It's a sort of David HaMelech that Dr. Mamshik over the Inyanim into. So many Keni Yerotzim take you from Yad Mami. We should go from the Sudas Malava Malki to the Sudas Malka Mashiach B'Pashtas. Also upon him, we see that the Rebbe is tied it all up. And I'm going to come to us that you can actually live in such a way that even though you're in the world, your Mamshik a divine revelation into your physical act. And so the Ebsha gave you how do you call it, what's the expression, a catalyst, which is the union of Shabbos, to help you and assist you, to be mamshik for you. But that union, b'chol ha'zmanim afili achrei Shabbos, and that's the sort of the union from Malava Malki. V'kemoi kein hu b'tzadikim ha'gedolim b'chol shavua. Tzadikim gedolim are the people that the whole week achil shalehem u'kinas tzadik oichel l'seiva nafshoi, that a tzaddik eats the whole week only for the sake of fulfilling his soul, not that he's hungry gashmiz and therefore eats l'seiva. Normally we say savata means you satisfy yourself. In other words, you satisfy yourself gufniistik, bodily you become satisfied with the achila v'kaitza b'zeh. A tzaddik eats in such a way that his whole union is soiva nafshui. It's only filling up a need within his neshama. Shubchinas tainu geluki. He has eaten in the middle of the week, eating from tainu geluki. But that's the union of the achila from Shabbos. Even by an ordinary yid, we say that his achila on Shabbos is tzaddik oichel l'seiva nafshui. And as he was printed in Siddur Bariches, that during the week where you have to struggle to eat properly and to feel the Kedusha, and that's eating from Birurim, etc., then that's what we call Achila Milmatala Maila. Or on Shabbos, it's eating Davki from Achila Milmaila Lamata, the Kili Yom Mamshik, the highest shurish of the Macholim Hadaya and Tachlis HaKedusha. You Mamshik that down on you on the Shoma, through the Achila on Shabbos. Therefore, we find that the Kohanim, what they were the Inif and Tachlis HaKedusha Achila in the Beis Hamikdash, Kodesh, that the whole inyan from the Achila of the Kohanim is also Boifin Kozeh. It was inyan Maila Lamata. They used to eat, but they used to be Mamshik, of course, Lamata. The father of the Gemara brings this up in Chagiga, V'Eid Makemus. And the Gemara says that Kohanim Oichlim or Balim Shkaprim. That you needed, we had the whole inyan from the Korb Mchatas. That the Kohanim eat the Korb Mchatas, and the day what they eat, the Korb Mchatas, you have a kapara. Kohanim Oichlim or Balim Mishkaprim. Wie können das sein? Because that's an inyan from the Achila, which is a divine form of Achila, and it's Mamshik in Yonim Milmaila Lamata. And that's the inyan from Achila Shabbos, with your Mamshik, the Shurish, and the Achila Milmaila Lamata, nicht Milmata Lamaila. And that's the inyan. It's put down by Rifas in a famous mile from the Rebbe in Bavrei Samech Gimel. But that's the inyan with Avram Avinu, when the Malachim came, and certain that he fed, he gave the Malachim, who oimed aleihem tachas ha'etz v'yoy chelu. Yeah, so but the Malachim normally don't eat. That's not such the Malachim should eat. They're oilam ruchni. I said, normally speaking, it's written that the Pshati, they didn't really eat. They just sort of made out as if they were eating. Yeah, and the Medrash says it because whenever you come into a place, you have to go according to its minhag. So they came into oil with this, and they made it out as if they were eating, but they weren't really. So the Zohar Kodesh, no, they ate. Avraham Avinu was megaling them the ability that they should be able to eat the way he understood eating, and that was Milmaila Lamata, to be megaling them a whole new inyan of key, which is called Achila. Who oimed aleihem. Yeah, and he brought down upon them Tachas Ha'etz, the Eitz HaChayim, the Amiti Shini from the Maila Mi'abiru, and he brought that down on them, V'yoy Cheilu, Zot the Zohar Kodesh, Yochelu Vadai. They ate Mamish Bepashtas. If you do it against the Inyan Bazeh. A Tzadik Amiti, yeah, he eats Boivim Kazeh, Kol Hazman. Who bebchines Bittel V'yichud Mamish Belakus, K'moy bebchines Bittel Dveikes Mamish Bayava V'yira Betfil. And a tzaddik is a mensch, when he's eating, then he's in a state of bittul, that's the first madrega, kalei chashivei. Yichud is the second madrega of absolute bittul. Mamish in elakus, K'moy bebchines Bittel Dveikes Mamish when he's davening, he has aviyira, then he's eating and he's davening, it's all the same thing. By him, it's all the same ball game. Ein hebdel ben zeh lezeh. Vezeu shehu b'chinas yashves v'yislabshes b'inyon ha'olam. He's after all in a state of restlessness, and even his slabs, he's even entered the inyonim of olam. He has to do with achila u'shtia. Nonetheless, u'bahem gufa, and in that at the same time, hu b'chinas elakus mamish. He says, mamish ain't from divinity. Because it's mamshik, the shurish of the oichel milmaila lamata, like we just pointed out, brings down the shurish of the achila. So he says, madrega gavoya v'nailama oi. He said, that is a very, very high madrega, and that's the tachlis of the whole inyan. That's the amiti sinya from tira b'taktoinim. That there's taka atachtin, and the mensch lives in a oiven ki ilu hu tachtin, and after pekain he's mamshik the inyan from elakus. Yeah, and the bittul v'yichud of Yehudi Eloah into that matter of how he is in the world. Pillar place. And the Rebbe said that's the highest madrega. It may come to us that to be just out of the world and to be in a state of just Yehudi Eloah and he does it, that's not such a big trick. Like we saw with Nokil Yesa, to be in a state of Aliyah with Pirud Me'oilam. And then the Dina from Yehudi Tato is after all. You still feel like, yes, it's not mamish the immediate singing of bittul telakus, but to be in a state of yichud tato, and in that be mamshit the zalba bittul yichud for yichud elo, ein l'mayla miseh, ein yoter tov miseh, ein l'mayla miseh. And Mamela writes the Rabbi now bracket noch a pele. Mamish is a whole amazing piece here, it's full of inyonim. So he says. Ve'ein zeh k'moy b'chinas hayichud davai echad milmaila lamata מבואר במוקים אחר. לשום הכוונה שהדבורים התחתונים הם אלוקוס ממי. So we've been mavaya, the marine van avaya, chod milmaila lamata. So the Rebbe said, we shouldn't confuse this with the Indian van the yichud of avaya, echod milmaila lamata, which is mavur in another place. Yeah. The shoma kavana shatvorim atachtoinim hein elikus mami. He said the other kavana is that everything is elikus. Here we're talking about it's a nivra, but it's a nivra which is called a bottle in the air elki. K'moshe kodim shenivra amnam. Oh, what is it about? Oh, but we say it's a nivra. Oh, we say you have to be mamshich into the nivra, the lamayla mi'anivra. He said, no, there's another thing which is mavur, and that is that everything is mamshel. That's a Philip phrase. So it's well known as a famous statement that's put down. It's not really mavur in a lot of places in Siddur, this thing. Mavur from the Rabbeim. Friedrich Rebbe brings in the Lakuti Tiburim, and the Rebbe Rashab became a Shachadim, mentioned it. And that is, we say there are two statements in Yiddish. One expression says, is als, and another expression says, als is So that means like this, is als means he is everything, and the other expression says everything is him. So you might say, well, mine of community, he's everything, or everything is him. So it's the same ballgame. So it comes again, the Rabbeim, it appears that the Alter Rebbe take is like that. No, we say that als is there, those are the bittul milmata lamayla. Als is there. We go from milmata lamayla into milmata into lamayla. Was the fize, ulai efshel aram is that also the second form of bittul we said over here is like gabi that, also milmata lamayla, even though it's behemoth milmata lamayla. That's everything is him. Oh, but if you say he is everything, then you're coming down. You say only him. He is everything. Who is he? He is the Eibishter. And he is everything means that everything is Elikus. We've been saying no, that everything is Nivroim, but they're bottle. They're bottle b'tachlis habitl. What is an underword? That's going to be the bittul from the Yosid Love. The Yosid Love, it's going to be that even the Gashmis and all the Inyonim, Tartuinim, we will see them mamish only as him. They will be Elikus, they will be just another way of expressing Hashem. Absolutely amazing concept. That doesn't talk about bittul, that just shows you that everything is him. Yeah, hu hakol. Meaning that there's really nothing apart from him. Einoid milvadi, in the highest sense, that everything is just him. It's mamish elikud. And that's what we're going to see Liosid, that what the Eibishter can create the world, like he says in Geras HaKodesh, the Alter Rebbe. He writes, Hu levadi b'koicha v'yecholte. Rahavi says, Yesh me'ayin v'efes ha'muchlat, or the etzim metzias that the yesh is really the koich of the atzmus mamish. Liosid love, and mitzad that oifen ha'yichud, or that's going to be begilui in the niva, how he's really atzmus saying safe. As if he's really atzmus saying safe, then the fact that he became something, that's a bluff, that didn't really occur. It's really only hu levadi b'koicha v'yecholte. That's going to be the only Matthias Liosi. What's going to be a Peledik Gezak? That the Eibishter is going to allow himself to appear B'Shleimusa in a dover kilu chutz mimena. And that's the Indian, that the Shleimus Agilu de Liosi. Everything is going to be only him. In the highest possible oifan. That's not what we're talking about now. Nowadays we talk about bittul. Yehuda Ilo is bittul. Yehuda Tato is another bittul. Bittul means that we say the thing is there als nivro. It's a metzias nivro, but it's bottle b'tach. Liosid, we're not going to say that. Liosid, we're going to say that's him himself. Das ist allein. Hakol. And that's called a bittul milmaila lamata, that everything is Elikut. So the Rebbe said, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about here before that. We're talking about that everything is batel, and through that bittul, you bring about a gila. Everything is bittul b'teikev, b'tachlis, everything is miyuchad in him, but you're talking about it being a nivra, and it's batel. So that is, in a way, the highest trick that could possibly be achieved. But the fact that everything will be Elikus, it's all over again, that's him. That's him. Lefanov is Baruch Ein Shum Kunz. But the Ike Kunz is that it is a created being. And in a state of being a created being, it gives itself away entirely to the Yichud of the Yichud Elora. And it's mamshik that Yichud into the Yichud of Tator. The Rebbe said that's the highest, Higher than that is not there. And therefore he says, you have a Einze Kemoya begins a Yuda Havai Erev Milmaila Lamata Mavur B'mokim Acheh Teshoma Kevona Shat Dvorim HaTachtoini Mei Melkus Mami. That's a Besonderin. That's another Indian. V'zeh Meduba Rak B'Makimus Miyuchodim. It's another Indian. V'zeh Madrege Gevoya V'Naila Mei. He said, that's a tremendously, where am I? Avokan. I'm sorry, I got mixed up. Shama Kavana Shadvarim Ataktani Malakus Mami. Avokan Harihu begins Matthias Kashmi. We're talking about Yichud Tator, that there is a Matthias Kashmi. Ela Shalidei Bituloi Toikif Aishaktusei Be'elakus Kemoishahu Lamate Afke Lezois Kolasi Yosov Vegashmi Usei Hein Elakus. It's a periodic of Hainu, Shu Alidei Avidosei, Mahapekes Advarim Gashmim, Shenasim Elikus. Mom is unbelievable. So the Rebbe said over there, when we say that everything is Milmaila Lamata Elikus, that's going to be Liosi, the devil Satan, everything Mamish Atmasain. He said, here's another trick. He said, here, what have you done? You've taken the Elam Kemoisa Matthias Gashmi. But through revealing the beetle, that's miyuchad in Elikus, dafki the way it is lamata, not lamaila, no, dafki the way it is down here, Yehuda Tator, down here in the world, kolos yezev agashmiyim hein Elikus. He said, what you've done here is that you've really turned your gashmiyas into Elikus. Because it's no longer gashmiyas, it's become a kli to the gila of Yehuda Eloah. Leaving it in the form of Gashmiyas, you've made it a divine thing. What you're doing is really achieving what's going to be Liosid Love without really going through that. You leave it as a Nivra, and after can you make it into a divine thing. That's a trick which has never been and never can be as Amintach, and that's what he says. When a Yid does his own piece and he works hard with his own koiches and his own effort, well, that's what he achieves. He turns the Dova Gashmi into a Yin Shalom. He reveals in it through its bittul and its shachtas in Elikus, and through his using of it for the sake of that bittul of his shachtas in Elikus, he literally turns it into a chefta and a inif in Elikus. And therefore he says, Kol asiyos of hagashmiyim hein Elikus. All of his physical acts are really divine things. Through his effort, Mahapeich es advorim agashmiyim shenasim Elikus. He does his mahapech, he reverses the Dova Gashmi into Elikus. So what happens is that he ends up at the end of his Aveda with higher than both factors that he started with. Because he started with the fact that it's a Nivra in Yehuda Tator. What he was done, in was Mamshik in Dem Yehuda which also says it's a Nivra, but it says Kalei Chashiva, it's like as if it never started, v'chule. Through that, he turns it into a Ina, like it's going to be Liosi, it's going to be Mamish She'ish Lefalpu b'zeh, is it Mamish Elikus, or it's Kivud Nasa Elikus, mitzad the Eibishter. Actually, it's no longer what it started off being. However, the mensch becomes from a physical entity in this world, he turns into a a piece of the wine. How did it come there? He turns on a piece of the wine, and that's what it's moving. Yeah, we have to be careful not to blow too many, how many explosions around here and give the wrong impressions, etc., etc. But that's what the Rebbe said. He said that the Frierdiker Rebbe was Atzma saying safe b'teich haguf. And that's an akuda. An akuda means that there was a goof, and in that he was mamshik. Atzma saying safe. Remember the goof. Where to say Atzma saying safe? Wenn man so dober am Vorbecht, das ist nicht das, kommen Sie in der Welt, der kann mit der Welt, hat die Welt, und so ein Tochen, still to this day they try to look for, where's that reading, you can't make trouble. So, mit dem Charles und Bayard, das in other words, that the Mensch is mahapach, everything in Telekus, he changes the Niva, and the Niva becomes Telekus. And that's his koyach. Konnte es machen. So, sollte ich alle verwünschen. Wie konnte das sein? Ich habe gesehen. Because, darf ich die koyach, die Atmos ist in der Nivra. Warte, wie koyach wie ich. That's Behelem. If he wants to bring that to Bekoloi, he's Megala. There's really nothing there apart from Atmos. I told you. Als het die van mij een leer zie, dan is wat die van Silas already prepared the world for. Anyway, as I told the shouted, what are we waiting for? Ad Mosai. Where's it? Well, who's really holding by all this today, and who it is, and who that? Yeah, a couple of guys went out this morning. They went out. They did get up in the morning. Bullets, and they dragged themselves out. Maybe one or two went back again. They got out. They went into the Tachona HaMerkoziyas, and they were mamish matzah mishomish misoil. They were marking people in the bush. Even if it killed the kus, but I said, the Tachona HaMerkoziyas, you go on a mochi from Gilel, and it started. In their goof also mir there. I saw the shadow ma machakim was but the whole thing is already there. So yes. So excuse me, it got a bit of a barich, it got a bit long and everything, but you have to realize that you asked me the other night, why did I learn this mind? Because I saw in this mind, Tafki in this mind, it's not just a way to do a shtek the ganze. Here's the real makor. This is the ganze ultimate upshot of what Lubavitch is all about. You can find in this mind all the answers. If you look carefully, you'll find it. Okay, guys. So,